Before this story begins, let me ask you something quietly. If you believe that happiness is not about age, money, or status, please like this story. And if you want more real-life inspired stories like this, don't forget to subscribe. Sometimes a simple story can change how we see everything. My name is Albert. I am an old man now, older than most people I know. When strangers look at me, they see wrinkles, slow steps, and shaking hands. But what they don't see is the one rule that kept me happy when everything else failed. People often expect some big secret from me, some powerful philosophy, some complicated mindset. But my rule is painfully simple. Don't make life harder than it already is. It took me almost my entire life to understand that. When I was young, I made everything difficult. I argued with reality. I fought against change. I resisted pain. I chased approval. I turned small problems into big disasters inside my head. I thought struggling meant I was strong. In truth, I was just tired. I spent years worrying about things I couldn't control. Other people's opinions, the future, the past, mistakes that were already done. I carried them all like heavy bags, even though none of them were helping me move forward. One day after my wife passed away, I sat alone in our house and realized something terrifying. All my worries were still there, but the person I worried for was gone. That was the moment everything cracked open inside me. I asked myself, why did I spend so much of my life mentally suffering for a future that never arrived the way I imagined? No one had forced me to think like that. I had done it to myself. So I tried something radical. I stopped arguing with what is. When I felt sad, I let myself feel sad. When I felt tired, I rested. When things went wrong, I accepted it without adding extra drama in my mind. Life didn't become perfect, but it became lighter. That's when I discovered my rule in its simplest form. Life gives you pain. You decide whether to add suffering. Pain is natural. Aging is pain. Loss is pain. Change is pain. But suffering comes from fighting those things. I suffered for decades because I wanted life to be different instead of understanding it. Now, I let life be what it is. If I spill tea, I smile and clean it. If I forget a name, I laugh and ask again. If I feel lonely, I sit with that feeling instead of running from it. I stopped making problems my identity. Most people don't realize how much energy they waste on unnecessary emotional battles. Battles with the past. Battles with expectations. Battles with imaginary futures. None of those battles can be won. So I stopped fighting. And strangely, that's when I felt powerful for the first time. Not powerful over life. Powerful within myself. I no longer try to control outcomes. I only control how gently I respond. At this age, I understand something very clearly. Happiness is not about adding joy. It's about removing resistance. Removing resistance to aging. Removing resistance to mistakes. Removing resistance to uncertainty. When you stop resisting, peace flows in naturally. I am an old man. My body is slow. My world is small. My days are quiet. But my mind is free. And that is my simple rule for a happy life. Don't make life harder than it already is. As I sit here now, the world feels softer than it used to. Not because it became kinder, but because I stopped holding it so tightly. When you are young, you clench your fists around everything. Dreams, plans, people. You think if you hold tight enough, nothing will slip away. But life doesn't work like that. The tighter you hold, the more it hurts when things change. And everything changes. I learned this slowly through loss, through disappointment, through moments where nothing went the way I imagined. Each time I felt betrayed by life, as if it owed me something. Now I know life never owed me anything. It only offered me time. Time to experience, time to learn, time to feel. What I did with that time was my responsibility. For many years I wasted it mentally, not physically. Mentally. I was always somewhere else, thinking about what could have been, what should have been, what might be. I missed so many real moments because I was busy living imaginary ones in my head. Now, I live only one life, the one in front of me. I wake up with the sun, not because I have to, but because my body invites me. I drink my tea slowly. I don't rush thoughts. I let silence exist. Silence used to scare me. It felt empty. Now it feels honest. In silence, I hear my own breathing. I feel my own heartbeat. I remember that I am alive, not just busy. At this age, I have learned to sit with discomfort, with sadness, with fear, without trying to escape them. Most people run from uncomfortable emotions. They distract themselves. They numb themselves. They pretend. But emotions are not enemies. They are messages. Sadness says something mattered. Fear says something feels uncertain. Loneliness says something wants connection. Instead of silencing those messages, I listen. And when you listen, the emotion finishes its job and leaves. Resistance keeps it trapped. I also learned that forgiveness is not about other people. It is about freeing yourself from carrying their shadows. I forgave people who hurt me, not because they deserved it, but because I deserved peace. Holding resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to feel sick. I did that for years. Now I choose lightness. I forgive my younger self too, for being naive, for being impatient, for thinking success meant happiness. He was doing the best he could with the awareness he had. So are you. That is another thing I learned. Most people are not trying to hurt you. They are trying to survive their own inner storms. When you understand that, compassion replaces anger. And compassion is one of the most healing emotions the human body can feel. My days are simple now, but they are full of noticing, full of breathing, full of remembering what truly matters. I no longer need my life to be meaningful. I feel meaning in being alive at all. One day my body will stop. That is certain. But I am not afraid, because I am no longer running from life. I am walking with it. And when the end comes, I know I won't regret the things I didn't achieve. I will only be grateful for the moments I was fully present. That is my final lesson, my final gift, my final truth. You don't need to control life to live well. You just need to stop fighting it. Let it be messy, let it be uncertain, let it be imperfect. That's where peace lives, and peace is the greatest form of happiness an old man can ever know.